Now, the UAE is home to a lot of high-flying personalities, including captains of industry and innovative entrepreneurs. Whether local or part of the many thriving expatriate communities, these people serve as a benchmark of success for many who come to the UAE to pursue a brighter future. One such person is Billionaire Rizwan Sajan, the founder and chairman of the Danube Group, which has been garnering an increasing amount of attention since its successful foray into property development. The name Rizwan Sajan frequently appears in the list of the top business leaders in the Middle East, Forbes lists, as well as on the honour lists of numerous awards from the government. So, from humble beginnings, how has Rizwan Sajan achieved such an extraordinary degree of success?
It's a long story, but I'll try to make it as short as possible. I came to Dubai when I was 30 years old. In fact, 27 years old, I would say. I was in Kuwait earlier, and then I came to Dubai after the invasion of Kuwait. While I was in Kuwait, I was also working for my company, for my uncle's company, and I was drawing a decent salary of about 20,000 dirhams with the commission. I'm talking about 25 years ago, and that was a lot of money at that time. Very happy, but Saddam Hussein had to come there, and I had to leave that place and come to Dubai. I started my business with almost zero capital, where I started doing my brokerage. Brokerage means you want to buy and somebody wants to sell. The broker gets a 1% or 2% commission. We did that for a couple of years, and from brokerage I got some chance to get into the trading. I went to the trading. I had my suppliers who trusted me. They gave me the money on consignment basis, and I could take the material from them and return it back to them. And that's how we came to the trading, and gradually we started growing into we opened a place in Sharjah, then we went to Dubai and Abu Dhabi, and then all the Emirates. Then I moved to Oman, Qatar, Bahrain. And there's always a gradual growth. There's never been a rush up growth. It's been always every 3 years I would plan that this is what I want to do, and I would work on that which I had in the vision in my mind, and try to achieve that in the 3 years and move forward for the next 3 years. And that's how, if you look at it, when I try to still look back, is how is it possible that I've achieved it? But then when I sometimes visualize that how it was possible, it was that 3 or 5 years vision which used to have, and basically focus on that 3 to 5 years vision and implement it. Like today also, when I'm launching my property division, exactly I know where I want to be after 3 years, like what I'm going to do and how to move forward towards that.
The UAE is home to a diverse group of expatriate communities who, over many years, have contributed enormously to the success and prosperity of the country. Of all of these, the Indian community is one group who have been particularly influential in terms of business and culture. So how is it that the Indian community has been able to be so successful in the Middle East for such a long period of time? And what role do businessmen such as Rizwan play in inspiring others to follow suit?
See, India and UAE has a very good track record from the earlier days. Somebody asked me, like, why did you settle down in Dubai and why not somewhere else? Yeah. I was in Kuwait earlier, like I said, and when I came to Dubai for the first time, there's an immigration, you pass through the immigration, and there's a person who checks the passport. There used to be an old traditional way of people checking your passport, whether the passport has been stamped or not stamped. Now, when I went to give my passport to stamp, that person who was a local Emirati sitting over there, and he asked me in Indian language, "Kaisa hai tum?" means how are you? So I was very impressed. Like, this is a local Emirati asking you in an Indian, and I used to come from Kuwait, where none of the Kuwaitis used to speak in the Indian language, and this local guy speaks in an Indian language. How are you? Is asking me. So why I'm saying this, because UAE people has been going to India a lot in Indian, and you know, there was a lot of business which was happening prior to the boom what we can see, and there has always been a connect. And the same way when the Indians came over here, they were able to connect to this country, they were able to connect to the people over here, they connect to the rulers over here, and and because of the freedom of business which was given to all of us, the Indians were able to capitalize very high because of the relation. And today, if you look at it, many of the majority of the successful business are Indian business, and I would say that is because it's free for all to country. Anybody can start their business, anybody can do the business in the way they want. The Indians, we feel very comfortable. The culture, we find it more or less the same as what we find in India. We see Bollywood over here, we see cricket over here, so the families are very happy. And that is one of the reasons I would feel that we are able to expand over here compared to the other countries.
How do you manage to keep up with the workload, and how have you set up your operations to nurture talent and ensure that your company continues to grow?
I don't know whether you notice when you come on my table, there would be hardly any papers with me. And that means I don't do any day-to-day activity. What we have done is we have appointed different managers at different levels, whether it is in the HR, whether it is somebody handling a particular division, or whether it is handling a certain category of a particular product. So we have appointed different heads on that, and they have been delegated with the responsibility. My job is to only check the reports at the end of the month, how they are faring and what they are doing. And if at all any strategic decisions to be taken as far as the investments are concerned, or as how we have to move forward, that papers only come to me in front of me to take that strategic decision. Rizwan, this is the investment. Like when you launch for a property, and the property head Atif would come and tell me, Rizwan, this is what we're planning to launch. This is the pluses, this is the minuses, and this is what we expect out of the whole thing. And then we would visualize and decide, and then go ahead. The same way, marketing team decide, okay, this is the budget. We will tell the marketing for this particular project, I want to spend 5 million or 6 million or 10 million or 15 million. And then they will decide who has to be given that job. So we have worked it out in such a way that everybody has been given their responsibility on their own and an ability to finalize without coming to me.
Welcome back. Now, the foundation of the Danube Group has been its building materials division, which is now one of the largest in the region. Since then, the group has branched out into retail, manufacturing, and more recently into property development. So what are the reasons for moving into what is seen as an increasingly volatile sector?
I believe that property I should have moved long back. In fact, before the recession, when there was a big boom happening over here, everybody used to tell me, Rizwan, you should have moved into the property, you should have moved in the property. I would have moved at that time also, because I felt that I had always had an edge over the other developers. Why I had an edge over the other developers? Because 65 to 70% of the building material which goes into the making of any building is the building material is there with me. The brand equity which we had was very, very good even at that particular time. I knew all the architects and the consultants very well. But at that particular time, I was always finding the market not too stable. When I say not too stable, it was running at a very high speed. And I was finding it a little uneasy, like how can the market go so fast that you buy a property today and after 3 months it becomes almost 30%, 40% more. Again, after 3 months it goes 30%, 40% more. So I was finding it unrealistic. And I said to myself, no, this is a little dangerous thing to get into a market where the situation is not, it's very, very, very bullish, and I don't want to get into the property. So I hold it back, and luckily good enough that I hold it back at that time, because a lot of people, went into a big problem because they got carried away with the profits they made, and at the end of the day, they ran into the problem. Now, when the market stabilized we went to the recession time, everybody came to know the mistakes we made. The Dubai government also did some very active steps to make sure that the investors and the developers are protected in such a way that now they found the RERA department, the escrow account and all that, and the Expo 2020 was announced. And at that time I felt, look, this is the time I should get into the property market. And we decided, yes, we're going to go into the property market, and we jumped immediately, and luckily good enough, we had a very, very good success. This year I'm planning to launch 4 properties. And next year I'm planning to launch 6 properties, hopefully. We want to make sure that we launch at least every 2 months 1 property. But at the same time, I don't want to be very greedy and go very over the board. I want to be sure that when I launch a property, if it's sold, I move to another property. So this is the plan I have, that okay, the 6 properties we should be able to launch next year. Like this year, after this launch, I'm planning to launch a property in September and again in December. Then hopefully again in February, and then every 2 months another property. So we have that 6 properties launch, which we have done 4 properties. So that way I want to grow gradually. That okay, and for that what we are doing is we are establishing our network. Like I have opened an office in Bombay to sell our properties in Dubai. We have established an office in Saudi, so that we are not dependent only on one market. We go into different markets. I would like to establish another 3-4 markets to sell our properties. Like I would establish a market in Iran probably. I would establish a market in Africa, probably in London. So we have a different markets where we can sell this product, the properties in Dubai. And by this virtue, we can launch more and more projects over here.
Finally, you've often been quoted as saying that you believe in the simplicity and value of relationships. In your opinion, what does a person need to be happy, and what's your personal prescription for happiness?
I think a person should be happy in what he's doing. I mean, like for example, I like to do business, and I've been successful in whatever I've done. So I enjoy doing that business. So even if I'm having a fever, I would take a Panadol and come here and work because I love that job. So whatever you do, whether you're playing a cricket or you're working as an accountant or you're working as in a marketing department, if you love your job, you should be happy, and rather than looking at the other successes, or looking at something which you don't have. Like I can imagine, if I have to look at myself, okay, other property developers are launching much bigger projects and I'm launching small projects. Should I be unhappy about it that he's launching a bigger project? No. I should be happy with what I have and try to be composed in what I have and move forward rather than thinking of what I don't have. And that is why I always believed. I mean, from the beginning, if you look at it, I didn't have anything, but I used to always feel, okay, this is what I have. When I went back from Kuwait, I didn't have anything, but at that time also I was very happy because I felt, okay, the other person have a cycle and I have a scooter. So I was happy with my scooty.
Well, that brings us to the end of our program. If you'd like to know more about any of the stories you have seen tonight, you can contact us at UAE Weekly at city7tv.com or by calling us on 04367 2230. From myself and the entire team, have a great week ahead.